What's up guys, it's Matt from TDM Style here and welcome back to the channel for another hair product review. So today we're actually taking a look at 3 products, all from the By Vilain line. We've got Gold Digger, Silver Fox, and Dynamite Clay. So I know I'm a little bit late to the party on this one. I mean, By Vilain products have been around for a while, but in case you aren't familiar with them, this is a line of products started by Emil and Rasmus over at Slickar TV, and they did reach out to me via email to ask if I'd like to try some of their products and review them. Now this is not a sponsored video, but I did want to give a shout out to the By Vilain team for offering to send me these products to try out and review for you guys. So I've actually got a bunch of their products that I've been trying out, and I wanted to do the review for the 3 waxes first because I know that those are very popular. So if you aren't familiar with these, we have Gold Digger, which is their extreme hold matte finish wax, Silver Fox, which is another extreme hold wax, but this one is supposed to have a medium shine, and then we have the Dynamite Clay, which they're calling a clay wax, and this one has a strong hold and a volume boosting effect. So let's get right into the review and we'll start out with packaging. Now all 3 of these stylers come in the same black plastic jars. Now I have the travel size ones here, which are about ½ an ounce or 15 milliliters, but if you're buying the full size ones, those do come in 2.2 ounce or 65 milliliter jars. Each jar is essentially identical, they got the same fonts and everything, and they just use different colors for the different products. So Gold Digger has gold, Silver Fox is silver, and Dynamite Clay is kind of this bronzy color. All right, next let's move into scent. And now I think, to me, Gold Digger and Silver Fox, I think have the same scent. I mean, when I smell one and then the other, they just smell identical to me. They're barely scented to me at all. It's a very light scent, and it's kind of hard to describe, but it's just kind of a very, very light, kind of masculine cologne-y smell, but I don't smell it at all once it's worked into my hair. Now, the Dynamite Clay is the different one in terms of scent. This one I think is the most scented. It's a little bit sweeter, and to me it smells kind of Play-Doh-y, like kind of in the ballpark of Cavalier Clay, but different. This one smells a little bit sweeter to me, but I like this one. But again, it's not super strong, and once I've got it in my hair, I don't smell it anymore. All right, next on to the ingredients, so we'll just touch on this very quickly. Now, all 3 of these products are water-based with Aqua in the first slot, and all 3 have petrolatum in the second spot. And then in the third spot is where they start to differ. So for Gold Digger, in the third spot, we have cera microcrystallina wax, and then a number of other wax compounds and things. For Silver Fox, we have something called ozokerite. And for Dynamite Clay, we have kaolin clay in the third spot, and then, once again, a number of other wax compounds and other things. So I will have the complete ingredients list for each product down in the description box below if you would care to see the entire list. All right, now let's move on to the scoop and the breakdown. Starting off with Gold Digger, once you crack into the jar, you're going to see this kind of light yellow, goldish looking, creamy, waxy product. Scooping it out and breaking it down is very easy. It's quite soft and breaks down creamy and, as you would expect, waxy in the hands. Now, it does also feel quite sticky and tacky in the hands, and it does seem to dry pretty quickly. Moving on to Silver Fox, this one is actually kind of a gray silver color in the jar, which struck me as a bit odd at first, but don't worry, it doesn't come out silver in your hair or anything like that. Scooping it out and breaking it down is very similar to Gold Digger. I found Silver Fox to be just the slightest bit more firm, but again, it breaks down creamy, waxy, and sticky in the hands. Looking at Dynamite Clay inside the jar, we're met with that kind of what we would expect for a traditional clay in that kind of brown, earthy color. And this one is definitely thick. I mean, to me, this is like a traditional heavy clay, so you're gonna need some firm pressure to get it out of that jar, and you're definitely going to need to spend some time breaking it down and warming it up in your hands before applying it. All right, next let's move into the demo footage. So we'll talk about how each of these products actually apply to and style into the hair and how they really work. So I've tested each of these products on their own over several days. In each scenario, I started with clean, dry hair, so you guys will know exactly how each one works for someone with me who's got thick, wavy, slightly coarse, slightly dry hair. Now, one important thing to note, each of these products do mention in their instructions to use them sparingly, and that's something that I certainly agree with. If you use too much of any of them in a single go, it just gets messy. So start out with a small scoop and then add more as needed. Now with that being said, let's get into the demo footage for each one. Starting out with Gold Digger. Now, as I mentioned, this is quite tacky and sticky in the hands, and it does seem to dry pretty quickly, so this is something that you want to warm it up and work it into your hair as quickly as you can. For me, the first small scoop goes in just fine. However, the second scoop, you can really start to feel that stickiness, and for me, as someone with drier, coarser hair, that does lead to that tangly ends feeling, so it was a little bit uncomfortable to style with as I started layering it in more, especially since it seemed to dry so fast. Now, I expected it to be sticky since they're calling it an extreme hold product, and those two things just kind of go hand in hand. And once I got past the stickiness, I did end up with a nice looking final style, pretty good looking texture, and definitely a very dry matte finish. Moving next onto Silver Fox. Now, applying this I found to be almost identical for me to Gold Digger. So again, quite sticky in the hands, does seem to dry pretty fast, so working rather quickly. The first small scoop went in just fine. The second scoop, again, started to feel sticky and tangly in my hair. But once again, after getting through that part, I did end up with a nice final style. I like the texture, although they're calling this a medium shine product, and to me, I wasn't really seeing what I would consider to be a medium shine. To me, this came out with more of a low or maybe a natural looking shine. Definitely a little bit more than the Gold Digger, which was very dry and matte, but to me, just not quite a medium shine. And finally, we're on to the Dynamite Clay. Now, this one was my favorite to work with just because you guys know I'm a fan of clays, and this behaved exactly as you would expect a traditional clay to behave. So once I got it warmed up in the hands, it applied to the hair very easily, definitely much more of a slick application than the other two waxes. And even working the second scoop in, there really wasn't all that much stickiness, although you could start to feel the grip and the hold setting in. And as you would expect with a water and petro-based clay, this one to me had basically like a low or natural shine look to it, so it wasn't super matte and super dry, but it wasn't very shiny either. Alright, so next we can talk about the hold, longevity, and restylability. So with each of these products, I tested them for 10 hours plus in my hair. So starting with the Gold Digger, you can see here that it looks basically the same as it did when we started out. The hold is definitely there. I mean, if you're not touching this throughout the day, it will stay in place without any hairspray required. I did find that if you were to mess with it and try to restyle it a lot, the hold did start to drop off very slightly, but really nothing noticeable. For me, it was difficult to restyle just because that tangly ends feeling never really went away. It did lighten up a little bit when I was out on like a very hot day, and so it was just kind of heating up in my hair, and that made it a little bit easier to run my fingers through. But this is something that I would want to style and then just leave it alone. Moving on to the Silver Fox, and this one again had a very similar result to Gold Digger in that the extreme hold I think is pretty accurate. It definitely held up, no problem, no hairspray required. But once again, it is a bit difficult to restyle for me because of that dry, tangly ends feeling. So again, this is something that I would want to kind of set it and forget it. With the Silver Fox, I did notice though that the volume seemed to kind of drop out a little bit throughout the day, but it was nothing crazy and nothing too unexpected for having it in my hair for such a long day. Now with the Dynamite Clay, this one is definitely the most restylable for me of the bunch because of I just didn't have that really tangly dry feeling. With it being a clay, it made my hair feel less dry, so it was easier to rework through, and as you can see at the end of the day, the hold did start to drop out a little bit. It's definitely not as strong a hold as the other two, but that's perfectly okay for me as this one is easier for me to just run my fingers through and quickly push it back into place. All right, now we can quickly talk about the washout. Now all three of these products are water-based with water in that first spot in the ingredients list, but none of them for me totally came out with just water. For both the Gold Digger and Silver Fox, just a light cleanser was plenty to get them completely out, so you could even get these out with like an oil cleanser or something if you wanted to go that route. Although with the Dynamite Clay, I did find I needed to use a more normal shampoo to get that totally out of my hair. All right, and last but not least, we can quickly talk about the pricing. So for the full-size jars, each one of these will run you $22 US Or if you want to go with the travel sizes like I have here, those will run you $7.20 a piece. All right, so overall thoughts, guys. I definitely like the Dynamite Clay the best for me personally. I found both Gold Digger and Silver Fox to just be too sticky for me. As I mentioned, as a person with hair that tends to be coarse and dry, just really sticky products just don't play well with me. I did think that both of them, I mean, the extreme hold is real. I mean, you know, these are something that you can use and not have to use anything else. I mean, and even just a tiny amount was enough to keep my hair in place all day. So I did like that about both of them. The texture that they created was pretty good. As far as the finishes, I think Gold Digger was too matte for me. Again, because my hair tends to be on the drier side, I tend to like products that have, you know, like a natural shine or a low shine, just so that my hair doesn't look too dry or frizzy or anything, and Gold Digger was just too matte for me. Silver Fox, I did like the finish better than Gold Digger, but again, I didn't find it to be a medium shine for me. I found it to be much more close to a low or natural shine. You know, all three of the products had great longevity. They definitely lasted all day. Again, I like the Dynamite Clay the best because that was the easiest for me to restyle if I had to, and you guys know I like to mess around with my hair throughout the day, so that was definitely easier since I didn't have that sticky, tangly feeling. But with that being said, I can totally see why so many people really like Gold Digger and Silver Fox. I think for those of you that have straighter hair or just hair that's not quite as coarse or dry as mine, those would probably work very, very well for you if you're in the market for something with extreme hold. Now, if you guys are interested in trying any of these products, I will link everything down in the description box below, and I also have a special coupon code for you guys down there to get you free shipping so that it will be a little bit easier on your wallet. So that does it for this review of the By Vilain waxes. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. Upcoming stuff, I have a ton of products that I'm trying. I mean, I have more By Vilain stuff. I've got their Detox Me shampoo and their Sidekick Zero spray that I've been testing. I have Kiehl's Clay, I've got Morris Motley Chrome. I just got 3 brand new products in from Stickmore Hair. So my plate is full, so I've got lots of content coming up for you guys. So if you haven't yet already, please do hit that subscribe button down below to keep you up to date with all that upcoming stuff. And as always, thank you guys so much for coming by and watching, and we'll see you at the next one.